January 2024 Water and Wastewater Commission meeting to order with roll call.
Commissioner Engel,
Aye.
Alderperson Newman, Commissioner Loda,
Aye.
Commissioner Frings, Commissioner Passberg,
Here.
and Commissioner Bushby.
Here. I'd like to make a change to the agenda and move item E up to C. So we'll get Mr. Dresser out of here as soon as we can. And then we have to have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it, even though I know he wants to stay here and try to.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, so next on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding agreement with Town Country Engineering for services related to upgrades and rehabilitation of well house 2, 3, and 5.
Do I need to be at the microphone or is the all pick?
That, they pick you up anyway.
Right, perfect. Well, thanks for moving me up in the agenda here. Put together a task order here to do the upgrades to all three of those well houses at the same time. We talked about this back in, I'm gonna say October timeline. And we submitted the intent to apply to the state. That basically, that ITA as we call it, basically gets your name on the list for funding. Based on the scoring that we saw for the well project, well number 4 project, you got about 25% principal forgiveness, fancy word for grant, on the project. So that was about $900 and some thousand in grant money on the project. And then the rest of the project is funded through a low interest loan through the DNR, through the Safe Drinking Water Fund. I looked that up this morning. It was 1.287% interest on it. And based on the current rate and the current tracking on this, if we were to get the same 25% principal forgiveness and the same interest rate, which actually would currently is what it would be, we'd be looking at a very similar size project to basically rebuilding well number 4 completely. The improvements at the wells, it's some of it's cosmetic, some of it's, you know, doors and painting and that kind of stuff. There's the roof on a couple of structures, windows on one. But the real guts of it is updating the electrical, updating the ventilation systems in there, and rehabbing each of the filters at each of the locations as well. Basically replacing the media as needed, blasting and painting them. There's a lot of valves that don't work on those filters anymore, getting those replaced, kind of getting them all, not new, but like new condition for all of your wells. Kind of following up on that plan of let's get all of our well treatment facilities up to a higher level of standards than where they're at right now.
And you said electrical, so you're talking about the controls,
Yeah, so perfect question. So the controls are actually, as part of the current well number 4 project, we are updating the radios and the PLCs, the computers at each of those other 3 locations, as well as at the towers. But it's going to be replacing some of the older distribution equipment there, actually putting in backup generators at each of those facilities as well. Well number 5 is the only one that has a generator right now. And that's an older unit. And so we can go, we have that included in the project right now, but if we get into this in the cost estimating and we think that we're going to be bumping up against the limit, we can evaluate whether we hold off on that or not. So the way we would tend to do these projects, I guess the way we proposed to do it was there's a certain cost of hiring an engineer that it's cheaper to have us do this all as one project than as 3 different projects. But the same goes for any contractor as well. There's also a cost of securing the loan, going through the PSC, the rate case on it. So the thought was, let's bite the bullet one time, get all 3 of them done. We will stagger the work on them, give the contractor enough time so he's not rushed and that no one facility is down, or we have no more than one facility down at a time through any stage of this.
Greg, I see at well two, you wanna put in an HMO system for radium removal. Did we have a spike there? Cause that was always under 5 picocuries, or did they change the limits?
We are bumping right up to the 5 picocuries now based on some of the samples. We are technically below it yet.
Right.
And the thought was, well, if we're gonna go through this endeavor, let's set you up
To succeed.
for success.
So it's gonna be put in and not initiated right away.
That would be my plan on it, and I haven't seen numbers since 2000, early part of
I
2001.
just wonder if it was that submersible pump they put
2020
in
and
there, like
2021. What's that?
that submersible pump they put in there, if that has something to do to raise the radium limits, no?
No, likely not. We have seen this time and time again, where just over time, within the well, you start pulling from different regions of that well, and some of them will be more radium rich. It's not an uncommon thing. We have worked in other communities where we sealed off portions of a well in order to, where you do some more elaborate testing and seal off areas of it.
Where would we put that in there, in the chemical feed room that's there, or would we have to add on? Is there room for that? That takes a big tank for?
Generally speaking, you'd be looking at about 1,000-gallon tank for it. And from my plan, I was looking at kind of adding onto that building, but once we have footprints together or plans drawn up for it, we would start looking at some alternatives of, can we, without lack of better terms, squeeze it in here or there. That being said, I don't want to shimmy it in like you have at your other facility. I'm gonna learn from someone else's mistake on that one and make sure that we have adequate room for it.
And you think now is the time to do this because of the funding?
The time is right for the funding. You're gonna have well number 4 in a like new condition. We kind of put this plan in place, so let's get them all done. But you've got a ticking clock on your other facilities as well. You've got antiquated electronics or electrical distribution equipment in there. You've got ventilation that is undersized in some locations. And quite honestly, if you don't get in there and start blasting and painting on both the filters and the piping soon, you're gonna be in for a much bigger expense there. Not to mention the valves that don't work and that kind of stuff.
There's some code violations coming from, I think, each of those wells as well, right? Like
As part of the sanitary survey, there was a
Yeah.
number of items that came up on them that also, while the DNR is knocking you for having, these violations, it also, in a sense, improves your scoring as well, as far as the need for improvements. So we have,
Ivy must have to add a chemical feed room separate. You're gonna have to add on there, aren't you?
let's see, number 5, we were looking at potentially carving out that space within the existing building.
what is the lifespan? So I know now is ideal. What is the lifespan going forward of, these modifications?
Everything we do is planned on 20 years, but more often than not, we see them on the water side lasting 25 and 30 years.
Okay.
So, those filters are the biggest investment that you have in each of those structures. Structurally, they look like they're in good shape. We'll know more once we get the utility service inspections done and we get those reports. But the anticipation is that you're going to clean them out, blast them, paint them, replace valves, and put them right back into service.
How old are they?
172.
72, 77, and I feel like. Was it
83, right?
No, well number 3 was 1990. Well number 2 was 1993.
Yeah,
Well number 3 was after that, like 98, I wanna say. And 5, that filter is the original from 77.
77, Yeah, so the 1960 something that you were mentioning, I don't think there was a filter in at that time. The filter got added in the 90s.
The building 60s, but the
Yeah, they
90s.
originally didn't have iron removal, only 5 and 4 did.
So roughly speaking, those haven't really been touched in 25 plus years.
And with the, I I know grouping these makes these a more attractive bidding package because it's not the small
Correct.
jobs. What have you seen, or have you seen any trends for, how many bids you do receive on something of this size? Is there competitiveness?
Yeah, you're, in all likelihood, this is gonna be an attractive project for someone who is not for a mechanical contractor, more so than a general contractor. The general contractors wanna pour concrete. That's really what they wanna do. In this case, you have little to no concrete getting poured. So you're gonna see someone like Sauer, for example, who's done work for the city before. You're gonna see them go in as a general. August Winter would do the same thing. Rhodey might. There'll be, I think, a pretty strong interest in it.
We should have some competition and,
Correct. You're also blessed to have enough industrial painters in the area, kind of in the Fox Valley region, that quite honestly, there's a lot of painting work on these jobs, and they're gonna jump at that opportunity to have inside work as well.
Good.
It's not fun work, blasting in one of those
Well, I know
tanks.
well five was quoted once before around 1990, so that's been taken down and they did extensive work on the inside here.
But it's still 30 years.
Stuff.
So what do you need from us?
Approval to move forward of the task order?
and what do you have,
I guess,
preliminary design, or is that services and engineering?
no, so this is a full engineering design contract. This would take you all the way through design and bidding on the project. We did it as a time and material contract, just the way we've done all of our other ones with you, with a not to exceed number. For all my good intentions of checking to see just how far under we were on the first two contracts. I believe we were $40,000 under our design contract on well number 4, and we're currently tracking well under our contract amount for construction on that well also. So
Under the engineering portion.
on the engineering portion of it. Fortunately, on the construction part too,
Oh, yeah.
at this point. So that's just kind of our business model. We do it as a time and material not to exceed. I know a lot of other firms will just do it as a lump sum and take it as a bonus for getting done. We don't need to operate that way. So we do it time and material not to exceed.
So you're looking for a motion to approve?
So basically hire him to do the.
I would make that motion that we approve the contract.
Anita,
How should I put that?
motion to approve,
Task order number 3.
yes, for the
Thank you.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll take roll call.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Engel?
Aye.
Commissioner Loda?
Aye.
Commissioner Passberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Bushke?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
More work for you.
Yes, and thank you again for moving me up on the agenda.
Yeah, drive.
Yeah, drive safe.
I won't want that drive yet tonight.
No. I'm not-
At least to get part of it in the light before you,
Yeah.
by the time you get some.
We didn't do specific comment. Give me a call.
Yeah,
Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens' comments?
The only comment I'll make is I've been watching the progress on well, number 4 there, and it's looking good. I like what I'm seeing.
Thank you.
I've done a flat job.
hi Greg, thank you.
And it looks like a house, right? Tim, that was what you, one of the things.
Yeah.
I've got criticism that's Taj Mahal.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I think
People
once
see
they're-
the height
yeah,
and they don't know what's inside that building. You see the windows on the top for natural lighting,
well, there
and
needs.
they're wondering why
yeah.
it's a 2-story
That
building.
house on Grove Street don't help you out either, because it's just a ranch house, you know.
Right.
Well,
Looks small compared to it.
if it ever comes up as an issue, I know from our discussions when we were talking about it, a big chunk of the idea is to make it not quite as obvious to terrorists if they come to town. Although I will say, any terrorist that's worth his salt, well, if they're gonna blow up wells, they will have researched and know where they are to begin with. But for the one that's just sliding through town, that could be a floor and you can still have water.
Yeah, that's more of an EPA mandated thing that's necessary to, kind of have some sort of silence on your.
Yeah, it looks good.
But a majority of that well, I mean, obviously we'll take you through one day. You might be surprised how it's compartmentalized. The actual working, it's not very big. The majority of that building is a giant iron filter that's
Yeah.
going in there. I mean, that's
Filter's still coming in April?
April to May. We're getting differing timelines, so.
We'll get it online by the 1st of September?
I would say more like November.
November.
Really?
I think the electrical, cause all them, they call them MCC panels, them all gotta be custom built for our application. I think the electric cord is probably the biggest holdup. I mean, the next
Yeah,
couple of months, we're gonna be
PLCs.
at a lull. The painters are almost done, the interior is almost done, just waiting for the tank. And then the install of electrical, HVAC is pretty much.
And then all the SCADA tie-ins with whatever we
And
have
mechanicals
existing.
and everything. I'm hoping for a November timeframe. Sooner would be better, but
Yeah, they're getting into somewhat of a lull, waiting for some of these pieces of equipment.
Let's move on to the consent agenda, which consists of minutes of December 5th and both the water and wastewater bill. So take a motion and second and have discussion.
So move. Second.
Any discussion, questions?
I just have a question on the state lab of hygiene proficiency testing.
Yep.
$333, what is that?
That's when the state lab verifies that, Mike knows what he's doing in the lab. So they'll give him sample blanks.
Right.
And they have a predetermined result and he has to send his results in to determine,
And that's for wastewater?
determine that his analytics are correct. They're
It's
testing
good
it.
to check up.
Yeah. Keeps everybody on the level, I guess.
I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
Is there any kind of charge for a back desampling for water from the state lab? That's still all?
We charge, they don't charge, but they charge, we pay for shipping.
Yeah.
Which is going to become an issue shortly.
I don't know for sure. It sounded like from the post office that we're gonna change.
Post office
Shipping
warned us
times,
they're no
so-
longer gonna be able to guarantee overnight shipping, so something we have to look into.
And I got another question on that, but I'll bring that up later.
Where are they gonna go?
Addison. They gotta be there within 30 hours.
Worst case, you drive them down there.
Or we certify ourselves.
That's my
Okay,
question. There's a lot involved in doing that.
Yeah.
So we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll take roll call on that.
Commissioner Engel,
I,
Commissioner Loda,
Aye.
Commissioner Pasprick,
Aye.
Commissioner Bushke.
Aye. Next is discussion with possible action regarding lead credit discussed on 11/7/23 citizens, Kurt Schmidt of 1440 Horicon Street.
So Tim and I went down, we got him in touch with the leak detection. We went down on a Wednesday night a while back, early December, I wanna say. And we found the items that were leaking. One was a lead to a slop sink in the back, I guess. We could kind of hear it in the pipes, but you couldn't gauge it. And then, when they were unloading equipment, the leak detector noticed that the storm right in front of Piggly Wiggly was running full of water. It'd been dry for quite some time. So we could smell the chlorine too. It
He
was
was
going right
parked in a
underneath.
10-minute parking slot. You're familiar with the pig? There's a storm sewer right when you get out there, and straight to the north behind the deli, or behind the bakery in the deli, there was a sink, and that's where it was leaking. And when we stood out there, you could just see water.
It must have really been leaking.
It was a pretty good sized hole.
I
in
would
there.
have, I probably would have
explain
called
this to
that.
me, how it was underneath the floor?
Under the
Yeah.
concrete, yeah. Yeah, we shut everything down in the store.
Mhm.
We went in, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, there's nobody in there, so. This American Leak Tech came in and he got his equipment out and we did a little bit of isolation and he used his thing and he goes, it's over here under the sink, under the floor.
Was Kurt there?
It was there, watched us do it. Scott Bernard came down because I think he's been trying to pinpoint it for quite a while.
Mhm.
And they had numerous holes in the floor, but they never did find this one. So we're monitoring it right now, that was the one and only leak under that store.
So they fixed the leak now?
Yeah, we fixed it about a week or two ago, and
So
now
you gotta
he's,
call it.
You're not getting water with chlorine coming out of the storm sewer.
no, there's no flow in that storm sewer, not saying there's another leak under there. He's
No, we checked it a few days later
Yeah.
too, just to see that flow in the
pursuing
storm.
other avenues to replace that piping under that store.
That wasn't that the last time, wasn't it under the deli that it was leaking the last time?
I don't think they ever fixed it then.
We fixed one,
Oh, maybe
and
I
then
remember.
you go back, you'll see where they blew a hole in the floor, they found one.
You can tell from the usage that it went, the usage slowly started climbing again. So you can tell it was probably a pinhole and started gaining and gaining and just.
That's copper pipe under there?
Well, at least the line that was broke.
You wouldn't think that would corrode, would you, Tim?
You wouldn't think so, but I think it was maybe on the 90 where it came up. If they bent it, kinked it, I don't know. And obviously, like anything we found in the past, they didn't bed any piping, anything besides what they took out, they put back in.
Well, leak detection was talking about, the bedding materials that they had used and in combination with years of copper that weren't the greatest either. If you had a limestone base mixed with 2 bad years of coppers in 91, that you've seen quite a few situations
Yeah.
that
So-
happens.
I think Kurt's in the process of maybe redoing that piping.
Well, I think it would pay him off. I looked at the figures that you sent us about it. He paid a lot of money.
Yeah, he did.
To run down the storm sewer.
So the water usage isn't anything you can do it went through the meter, it's been used.
Well, what I made out of it, his average bill used to be $1,000 a month, and he was way up over that.
Up to 4,000.
Yeah, 56 is probably his.
So I think Courtney went and figured out what she thinks.
I went back through a year's worth of average usage. His average usage is 111 units per month. So, I'm never gonna know exactly what that was if, Bakery ran long over Christmas or whatever, but, so I took the units that were used minus 111 and then, on the back page of that, there's his screenshot of his usage and the back page was the calculation. Which comes to an overage of 4,265 units of sewer that was charged that likely went to the storm system. And we charge $486 per unit, so that totals $20,727.
So what are we doing for a leak adjustment? Can we actually legally do that for a commercial property with the PSC?
Not for any sort of water rate reduction. We can't do anything to reduce the water use, but on the sewer side, the sewer, that whatever went to the sewer is what I calculated.
He paid for it going through the sewer and it didn't. And so, we got money for nothing. Essentially, it didn't cost us anything.
Right.
And so I think I would make the motion that we reimburse him for.
Are we gonna reimburse the
Or
credit?
for credit.
Credit,
I think we credit.
that'd be fine.
Do you think a credit? Whatever you guys think is.
Credit out.
I don't
We
really-
can do a credit. We did that last time.
Mhm.
All right, yes, okay.
We have a motion to do a credit.
That motion to do a credit.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Take roll call.
Commissioner Engel,
I,
Commissioner Rodoff,
I,
Commissioner Patrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Buskey.
Aye.
I was afraid that we'd find out that it had gone to the sewer and then we'd be kind of stuck. And I'm glad in a way that
Yeah.
this is how it came out.
Yeah.
And thank you for putting him in touch with that leak finder.
Courtney was involved with it as well.
Yeah, thank you,
It's
Courtney.
a group effort.
Water report, we're way down there now.
It's kind of all over the place here, I think, right? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. No.
All right,
Moving on.
water.
Oh, never mind, go ahead, I'm so sorry.
Okay, we had a main break on Meadow and Clark, 1218. I think that one was caught pretty fast.
what's going on there? That's about the third time you opened up that intersection.
Yeah, there's band after band, there's bands next to bands. It's on my to-do list, it's pretty high on the top 10 there, but so is that entire,
I know right
Area.
there where you were digging, you did a line stop at one time and put in that valve, because there was never a valve on that, up the hill there. And we had to shut off that whole intersection, and we put a line stop in there. Did you ever run into that there, digging up all around there?
Never said.
Yeah. It would be right to the west of where that valve is.
Yeah.
no, there was one, I think 2018, we had one map that was probably,
They were all just to the east of the valve. The one we had now and the one was maybe another 7, 8 feet away.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So what's causing it?
Older pipe, like I said before, everything is backfilled, what you took out, they threw right back in. It's not bedded in gravel, it's not bedded in anything, it might be giant boulders,
I wanna
rocks.
say that area is like 73-ish was,
Yeah, I would say 70, 68, something like that.
yeah, between, I think all of those subdivisions were like 68 to maybe I'd say 75, somewhere in there, but
Yeah,
There's
that
no
was
someone moved
77,
down there.
77,
Yeah.
okay.
so a bit earlier.
See, that street was already, always intended to go down to Commerce, because that's why the water main goes down there, but they never did that part.
Yeah, the valving, the shut off got interesting.
That's over the, you know where it is, over the hill on Commerce.
All right,
So both valves worked great, it was easy to isolate, just that one guy was a block away. you know. It worked out well, they made pretty quick work of it, I'll say that.
Yeah, that was caught pretty fast, turned down overnight. Nicole and neighbors were on it, and they all made sure
yeah,
we knew right away, so. Yeah,
Sure, I forgot you.
Town and Country was in the morning to take care of it. We also had a service feed at Meadowcraft break on 12:30. That happened to be, was it New Year? Oh, 12:30, so New Year's Eve weekend when everybody
is that
was
the one where
off.
the office got flooded out? I heard
Yeah.
about that.
So nobody was there. So it started on a Saturday and they were back in, what, like Monday night?
Monday night, their third shift came in, and then I got a call about 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so the building was vacant from Saturday until just happening to
But
be
that
the
wasn't our
holiday.
problem, it was theirs under their floor, right?
Correct.
It was not, but we lost about 1.6
feet
million
south of the
gallons
meter.
on that,
How much?
1.6 million.
Where did it go?
Underground or
Underground
under that concrete
mains.
or all through that building. There was probably 4 to 6
That's
inches
a
of
lot.
water in
What
there.
size pipe was it?
It's a 4-inch line in there. No, that was is that a 6 or a 4? I can't remember.
Coming in the west
4-inch,
side.
that was a 4-inch
Right.
line under there.
Did that run through the meter?
No.
No,
No.
it was
It was
before the
before.
meter. And it blew about 20 feet south of the meter.
Well,
So we
And that
counted as
piping,
lost on it.
Again, as they dug it out, the guys that dug it out, it's like, didn't anybody believe in gravel? It's all boulders and whatever was laying around thrown on that pipe.
That's what you wind up with when you go for the cheapest bidder on all this stuff.
Well, that's apparently what they did back in the day.
right,
Yeah, that's just one of those where usually somebody's at Meadowcraft all the time. It happened to be probably one out of 2 weekends in the entire
looked at
year
the-
that it could have ran.
The hole was probably the size of my fist in that 4-inch pipe, and then, I just went off, we also used how many hours the well pumps ran. We took that, the
see,
hours and
that's what
everything.
happened at Gleason Realty, when I was there, they had 2 or 3 of them under the floor like that happened
Okay.
over the weekend.
Oh,
Finally, they abandoned that and went off the fire protection line with a meter.
okay.
Or maybe they have to do that out there or something.
Well, this is actually their whole service line coming in, and I
My
know them.
understanding is they're looking into redoing a lot of
Yeah.
that plumbing as well.
You know, that would be a great project to burst a new line in.
Yeah.
I suggested that to him because of his old piping, and I talked to the burster, and he says, that's stuff we do, so.
We've got about 150 meter change letters going out, and we've started with those meter changes for this year. The chloride reduction program that we approved last month, has begun. I don't know if they've had any, I know they've had some interest, but I don't know if there's any, scheduled appointments or anything with that yet with the softener replacement program. Well, number 4 updates, we talked about a little already. Floors are going in, painting's getting done, electrical and HVAC are currently the projects underway. I don't think we didn't have anything else to add on that one, but it's kind of slowing down a little bit over there. And the PSC and DNR have reached out, we kind of went back and forth on that, but they're looking to schedule, you talked to our DNR rep, so I'm not 100%. They're looking to schedule a visit to see, to help out small communities on efficiently removing all the lead service lines. So the PSC and DNR kind of want to team up and come talk to us and visit Town and Country and see how those things, how it happened, because small communities are
They want to use it
struggling to
kind
get
of
it
as a
done.
model of how our contractors work with us and how they got it all done in a time frame, how it actually worked and what these small cities, what resources we use because we're a smaller community, how we get it.
That's nice.
They wanna know, so they wanna come down, have a big sit down
Yeah.
meeting. How did you guys do this in a year and a half? It's
Well, a
almost,
big chunk of it was the folks that were doing it were local.
yeah, well, that's, but I mean, if you're up
It's
in
huge.
Crandon,
Yeah.
you got a guy with a backhoe, you know? They wanna know how we actually pulled them, how did they do this work? And so efficiently and so many in such a short time frame. And so they're kind of very interested in that, how to help other small communities that maybe got 15 of them, you know?
So we'll
Good.
definitely entertain that and bring them around. That's all I have for water.
I seen the electrician was at well 5, we got an issue there.
Yep, outlet, it's a bad outlet.
Chlorine pump wouldn't fire when the well pump came on. Something was corroded off all electrical wires in some junction box where spent a couple hours
And I
tracing
seen
it.
before Christmas, Town and Country had their big track hole parked in front of the sewer plant, what was that about?
I don't think it was Town and Country. That was, so they did some like geotechnical work for the sewer, the facilities planning. So they did some, soil samples and boring, because there was a whole lot of uncertainty as to the area behind the clarifiers, the wooded area.
That's what it was there for?
Yeah, what that was at one point and what, you know, what
What
kind
all
of
them
footings
berms
would
are.
support and,
Dug around in that.
And that's where the tank's gonna go, right?
yeah, so the sludge storage tank. So they weren't sure what was, if that was a dump at one time or, you know, it's
Yeah,
all
it's just
sand
a
or,
dumping area is all that is.
yeah.
Some kind of exploratory work is what they were doing.
I thought the old dump was up by, was it by Wool Road, isn't it?
Right across from where
Okay.
they built that new home.
Yeah, just determining, and with just the proximity to the river too, they were kind of verifying that there was no large streams of water or anything like that going through a lot of those
Probably a good
areas in
idea
their
to
bores.
verify that.
Yeah. No underground.
We'll create our
Wells.
own large streams of water.
Yeah. Direct them where we want them to go.
Yeah.
No, I think when they got rid of all the old trickling filters there, they dumped the concrete in that, in there behind that fence there
Okay,
to the north of that.
and that's what, so it looked to them on the overviews, it looked a little bit unnatural, like the mounds and you know how it's probably progressed over the years, so they weren't really.
Maybe they were put there by the indigenous people that lived here thousands of years ago.
There, then we're out of the loop, we're not building a thing.
Yeah, then we won't be able to build anything.
We'll be good. Yep.
Next is wastewater report.
Using our CDL program, George Kramer, we got him through his CDL requirements, so everybody has a CDL, everybody can, and drive the jetter truck as of now. Well, except for the new guy. GFL's truck ran into our sludge loadout line. Mike was able to fix that, but they swung the garbage cans, they knocked the loadout line off. We were able to get that going again. We had a short time frame to be able to.
So they
fix
not
that.
only left up my garbage carts, but they're also taking out the,
I've heard that happen before, and that's why there's like a repair sleeve on that sludge loadout
Yeah,
line though. That happened once before. Was it garbage as well?
And I don't remember.
Okay. It looks like it's been there a while, I'll have to say that. Our new wastewater employee started on December 27th then. He started at work too, getting through that CDL and different testing requirements is all in progress as
Now,
well.
who is this?
Would be Corey from Duressa,
Corey, have a last name?
Corey Clark.
that's the one we talked about
The
last.
one that, yeah, the one we talked about and recommended. Like so far, going well, diving in everything, interesting to learn, doing,
He's got how much experience
7 to 8
7,
years.
8 years.
in wastewater or?
Wastewater, water, streets.
Little bit of everything.
He did do everything, parks.
Good.
He was like the director in Teresa. He took care of it all.
I think I'm working backwards here, but we had our plant tour on 12/9. We had about 12 or so people that came through for the tour, but, anything I had for commentary was positive and it's something we said we promised we'd do. So we got it done.
There was a lot of good questions. I
There was
thought,
very good questions, yeah. And there was, I think, some kind of just amazed that process is so
old.
well, old, but involved, like just,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, it was.
When our previous person here was talking about 20 years went by a long time ago on that facility.
Yeah.
It's double that and then some, you know?
Double,
Yeah.
double
And I think that's what most places do. You run until you can't, and that's kind of where we are with it, so.
yeah, and a lot of it's coming down to safety concerns and things. I think I made you sign the waiver too, right? Sure did. Uneven, it's a waiver for uneven surfaces and open waterways and
Yeah.
things that might fall down and about it. Anything on wastewater?
That was wastewater.
I know, any questions?
Any questions, wastewater? Discussion possible action regarding Wisconsin pollution distribution elimination system, 5-year permit.
So this is renewal of 5-year permit. It's, not really interesting reading by any stretch of the imagination. I just wanted to send this through. He's had a chance to view before. The only thing we're really changing right now from our previous permit, is we wanted to add a chloride variance. It's something that I talked to the DNR about. We're not able to meet seasonal chloride limitations that we have on us. And what we asked for was a seasonal variance. If we can adjust in any other month than June through October, if that will kind of make up for our times that we're not able to meet the desired limits in that period, because we've done everything in
And
our
we've never
power.
done that before?
The DNR's never done that before. So that's something that I'm sure will come with a lot of questions. This permit is due April 4th, but, there's some benefits to submitting early as well. So I really wanted to get this pushed through thoughtfully, I guess, too. And it's to our advantage to get that, especially get it early, especially with the chloride variance in place. And that we have more time to review what's actually gonna be on our permit when it's issued as well.
So what we ask for is not necessarily what we're gonna get, is it?
No, I mean, they'll come back with I think they'll have a public review, a commentary section, and then we're open
Okay.
to commentary and suggestions on this. But yeah, we got every one of these results that are in here of things that nobody can read. Those are all things we had to send in as well for additional testing with the DNR.
Yeah, we've never had any of that, right? Pesticides or.
No, everything looks pretty good based on other than my eyeballs were not doing very well reading all of that. But no, I just wanted to send this through for, I guess, approval before I do.
So you're looking
Submit.
for us to approve it?
Yeah,
I read it through today, and it was a couple hours out of my life that are gone. We'll never get back, but I think I would move that we approve it.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Now we'll take roll call on that.
Commissioner Engel,
Aye.
Modell,
Aye.
Patrick,
Aye.
Leskey.
Aye. Next is convening the closed session. Pursuant Wisconsin statute section 19.85, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public discussion whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. So take a motion to go in closed session. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
George,
There's nobody else here.
so I know, isn't it weird?
You shut off the camera?
Oh, yeah.
4:38.
Go into closed session, but have it.
Yeah.